Yes, Shakespeare said, the sweet sorrow of parting. So even in parting, there is some sweetness. But I don't know why the sorrow. There should be no sorrow at all. For really speaking, who comes and who goes? No one, as we said during the course. It is always there. And in the oneness of the Spirit, there is no separation. So I have neither come and neither am I going. I have been with you all the time. And we have known each other. I can see the faces, I can read the subtle body of yours, that we have met before. And we have been through many satsangs together in different ages. And yet the same Spirit keeps on pervading. And it interprets itself in communication, in the communication of love. So, as the Gita would say to Arjuna, that we have been together for many lifetimes, in many a lifetime. The only difference between you and I is this, that I know when we have been together while you don't. That's the only difference. So we do find, although we live thousands of miles apart, and in other countries and other places, when we have courses, they say, oh, Guruji, you're going, you're leaving us. I says, no, I'm not going. I am here with you, depending how receptive you are to the love I give forth. For my life is love. The Spirit within me is eternal, immortal, undying. And if some of you could remember some of the words I've spoken, we had a lot of fun together, a few laughs together, and some words of wisdom. And if they can be remembered and put into practice, life would be much, much richer for you. And I want you to share my riches, which I have in abundance. I want you to share my love. I want you to share the peace and calm that is within me. And that comes through remembrance. We remember things. Sometimes we are sitting alone and quietly, and we reflect over just a phrase or a sentence that might have been spoken during this course, and you will find yourself floating away to the very time when those words were spoken, and to that very feeling, and that feeling would intensify itself. And if your feeling is so intense, then you will find me physically there with you at any time of night or day. And this has happened hundreds and hundreds of times. Just to quote one example, we have a teacher in England, Marjorie Chambers, and she has a room in which she teaches meditation, and she uses it also as a guest room. So she was initiating someone, and there was a bed in the room, and then she had a puja table there, and of course the emblem. And the Canadian Meditation Society must definitely make a plan to have an emblem made. It's very easy to make. Chetanji has seen them, and so has Hugh and Barbara and Larry and them. I think Leslie also on some of the courses. Yeah, and Caroline has seen them, I think. So we should have one here. Good. So Marjorie was initiating this person, and I walked into the room, and they could see me physically. Yet I was in South Africa. But the initiation was so intense that I was pulled there into the room. Then I walked in, and not only Marjorie, well, she's a meditator of many years, so for her, to see me would have not been unusual. But the person that had never meditated and was just being initiated, she too saw me, and I went to sit on the bed watching them going through the initiation process. And so Marjorie wrote to me about this experience. So we keep all these letters in the files. And she says, the very next day I went to buy a nice armchair, and we put it in that room. So next time, Guruji, you feel like walking in, there's a chair for you to sit on. You don't need a bed to sit on. You see, so these things happen. Many of you that would start meditating will find one thing by doing the Guru Shakti practice. You might have some problem on your mind. Do the Guru Shakti practice, and you'll find an answer to the problem you have. It'll just dawn on you. Or you'll meet someone through whom your answer will be given. Or you would just open up any page of a book, and the answer will be there. Now, to illustrate this by an example, we have a meditator. Shoki is his name, and he's a psychiatrist by profession, and he worked in a London hospital. But his mother is in Canada somewhere, and he wanted to emigrate. Now, what he needed very much was to become a fellow of the Royal College, FRCS, something like that, which is recognized the world over. Now, the condition is this, that you've got to sit down to write a paper, write an exam, and twice he failed. And the third time was his last chance. And if he failed the third time, then of course he's out. He wouldn't get the fellowship of the Royal College of Psychiatrists or whatever. And he phoned me the day before, early morning, and he says, Guruji, I've got to write my paper tomorrow. You must do something. I said, well, I will meditate for you, but meanwhile you got to do your thing on your side too. And he opened up one of his textbooks just, without planning, and just opened up page and he read a few pages. Next morning he went to write his paper, and those few pages that he read, the question was based exactly on those few pages, and he got through with flying colors. Do you see? So I could give you tons of examples of this kind, but at the same time, let me remind you that I'm a very, very ordinary person. I eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, very ordinary. There's nothing except that I found the oneness with God. You reach the superconscious state, and you can draw from it as much as you like, according to your capacity. You take a thimble to the river, and you'll get a thimble full of water. And you take a 5-gallon bucket to the river, and you'll get 5 gallons of water. It is you that is important. The river is there, forever flowing and flowing and flowing, and never stagnating like the pond, but always flowing, and the water is fresh and refreshing. So be regular in meditations. Good. Do, and as far as the practices go, it's only half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening, And of course, the other practices are done during the day while you're doing your work. Like Guru Shakti, you don't need to sit down for pranayams, you don't need to sit down for the swirling techniques, etc. You don't need to sit down for the gap techniques and plus, plus, plus. So it's just 1 hour a day that you need. People might make excuses that I don't have any time, but that is an excuse, really speaking. You can even meditate sitting on the toilet. As a matter of fact, I've composed some of my best poems on toilet paper. You see, so you can always find time. And Charlene was telling someone the other day, I overheard her, he said that hour you spend in meditation enhances the other hours of your working day so that you become more efficient, and that hour is not wasted at all in meditation because you'd become more productive. So sitting for that hour in meditation, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, you'd be producing so much more than what you would normally produce in an 8-hour working day. And with less effort, more concentrated, more dynamic, and more at peace. And you accomplish the maximum with the minimum effort. So meditational practices not only takes you from fragmentation to integration, but it also enhances your daily life. I don't know if I told you the story of one man. He is a manager, a credit manager of the largest building society in South Africa, United Building Society. He was meditating for about a year. And one day he phones me, he says, Guruji, I'd like to come see you. I said, sure. So I looked up my diary and we made a time, he came. So he says, Guruji, I sit down to meditate, but some people have all kinds of visions and flashy experiences, but nothing seems to happen to me. I sit and meditate regularly. I never miss meditating. And then we start chatting, and of course I asked the secretary to make some tea for us. And had some tea together, and while having tea we were chatting. We chatted about first his work. So he said that, oh, my boss was such a terrible chap that I felt like punching him in the nose every day. But now when he says something, it goes in one ear and out the other, and I take no notice of it. It doesn't, affect me anymore. Then he has a large staff under him, and he used to get angry with the staff when something was not done properly, or as requested and required, and he used to get very angry with them. And he says, well, now if someone doesn't do anything right, I call him in to the office and we have a nice chat, and in a nice way I would tell him, do these things this way and do that this way and things like that, and the person does it so willingly that production increases, type of thing. Right, and then we started with his children, and I used to be driven mad at home because as soon as I reach home I hear the hi-fi blaring with this rock and roll, twist, disco kind of music. I just can't stand it. And he says now, for the past several months, he says, it just does not bother me. You can carry on, and I'll pick up my book, and while I'm engrossed, reading, I don't even hear it. He has squabbles with his wife now and then, and he says now, that has led, the squabbles are still there. Now and then we have a little argument, but if she says something harsh, I turn it into a joke and we both laugh. He talked about he belongs to some clubs, and he says he gets on better with the people. Then I told him, I says, haven't you benefited by your meditation? The 1 hour spent in meditation is not so important. It is a spur. That's the dose you take, the dose of medicine. But how the 23 hours of the day goes, that's important. How cool, calm, and composed you could be. integrated you could be, how happy you could feel during the waking hours of the day. That's important. And you also, because of that calmness that you experience, you also sleep better. So the 23 hours are enhanced by just spending 1 hour a day in meditation. That's how important it is. Out of the thousands of people I've initiated, they all report that some betterment has come into their lives. Sometimes they go through hurdles which are necessary because I make them face themselves truly in the mirror and look at themselves squarely. So by knowing their faults, they could correct their faults. And it requires a lot of rubbing and scrubbing. And I says, doesn't matter, you need it, but carry on. Carry on, because the scrubbing of the floor is hard. Okay, you got to bend down, and some energy there is wasted, and you hate scrubbing. Right? But what would be the end result? To have such a clean floor, and isn't that beautiful? So the spiritual path is not always too smooth. As Vivekananda says, it's a path for heroes, and which is very true. One has to apply oneself to it, and you'll find slowly and slowly all the dirt, all the sanskaras, impressions within you would float away. You become a better person. You can't take adverse sanskaras and pull them out and chuck them away. You can't do that. And the analogy I used one day here, I think, was a jug of dirty water. Put it under a running tap of clean water, and after a while you'll find all the dirty water's out, and the jug will be filled with clean water. No effort. You just have to pick up the jug and put it under the faucet. That's all you have to do. So when the showers of blessings are there, then hide yourself under a canopy. Feel the blessings. It might make you wet, but it will refresh you also sometimes. Most times. Good, so it's been so nice being here. I know there's a lot of packing to do for everyone. And dear Caroline has a whole room full of stuff there to pack. She brought practically half a kitchen along, and the wonderful meals she cooked was very, very much enjoyed. And all of you others that have taken so much trouble, including Chetanji. The names are too many to mention, and I might just forget one name, and the person might think wasn't my name mentioned, kind of thing. So rather than mentioning names, I would like to thank all of you that's contributed to the success of this course. And I felt very, very much at home. Actually, I fell in love with everyone. Yes, it's been very nice, very pleasant indeed. So take my example, if you wish. Wherever you go, spread love, spread joy. That's the greatest mission of your life. For that, it will be returned to you tenfold in some way or the other. The giver is always the receiver, always. I like that poem I read to you people that night. I never memorized my poetry. Good. So, au revoir, goodbye, which means God be with you, and hope to see you soon. And let us try and work harder so that we could have bigger courses, because it's the same joy that you impart to 10 or 12 people or to 10 or 1,200 people. Up to now, the largest gathering I've addressed was 30,000. That was the largest, and of course, the smallest has been 3 people also. To me, it makes no difference. But the more the word of love and peace and the way to it is spread, the more the world will benefit, and that is what we need in this world today. So, thank you. Yes. Namaste. Namaste. Shall we end with a prayer? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may seek not so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.